Hello, 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 and welcome to another ASMR video. This time, we are not doing a Let's Play. Instead, tonight, we are taking a look at the Game Awards 2024. We're going to go through all of the categories. We're not going to vote. I think I'll talk about what I may vote for, but with this year of Game Award nominations, there's a lot that I just haven't played. So I don't feel like I could accurately vote for something like Game of the Year. But I'll try to talk as much as I can about anything and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and click vote now, start voting, and I'm going to have to sign in to vote. But yes, firstly, we are at Game of the Year. We've got Astrobot, Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, Final Fantasy. I don't know what that number is. I'm not a Final Fantasy person, so I don't exactly know. And Metaphor Refantasio. I recall people being like afraid that they weren't gonna put Black Myth Wukong on the nominations or the nominees. So I'm very happy to see it here. I would say I am most familiar with Black Myth Wukong, Shadow of the Erdtree, and Metaphor. But I haven't played any of these games at all. Astrobot, I know that was a kind of like a breakthrough a little bit for PlayStation. So that was one thing that they had going for them, especially after one of the state of plays. Every state of play that they do, everybody gets so upset that Bloodborne isn't getting like a remaster or a PC port, and honestly, I'm rooting for them. But that whole community can be a very slippery slope, if I'm honest. But it's good to see Astrobot here. It's kind of like a big love letter to PlayStation as a whole, and it's family friendly as well, so that's very cool. Balatro, I actually, when I saw this as a nomination, I had no idea what it was, but I do recall seeing Balatro before. It has a cool, like, tagline synopsis. It's like it's a roguelike for card-based, like classic card games like poker and what have you. I never learned how to play poker, so this isn't really up my aisle. But I did look at it on Google. I googled Balatro, and it's got like a 10 out of 10 on Steam. So people who play it do tend to love it, and there are plenty of articles saying like, oh my god, this is a fantastic game. Again, it's just not for me, and I've never played it myself. Now, Black Myth Wukong, I've been in a room where someone has played this game, or specifically the intro to it. It seems really cool, and one day I really, really, really do want to play it. And honestly, if I'm not mistaken, this is probably the most popular game of the year, considering that we don't even have the numbers of Chinese like sales. I know that this is super, super, super big in China. So I honestly think globally this may be the most popular game. But that's just a guess. I have no idea. Jeff Keighley had to send out like an announcement to Twitter and all of social media, basically saying that DLCs now count as nominations for Game of the Year. And I'm seeing a lot of people very upset about Shadow of the Erdtree being on the Game of the Year nominations. Honestly, I feel like this should kind of get its own category, especially considering that Elden Ring already won a Game of the Year. I think it was 2021, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I think I think this should get its own category. It would be a little upsetting if it did win the Game Awards, but we're gonna have to see. Also, that's not to downplay Shadow of the Air Tree at all. I know that it's an expansion that is like so massive with tens, dozens of hours of content. It's just, yeah, it's an expansion. After that, we have Final Fantasy Rebirth. Again, I have never consumed a single minute of a Final Fantasy game, and yeah, I feel bad that I haven't, because I know that Final Fantasy is such a big thing. It's just a little, I don't know, intimidating with how many, numbers there are. I just don't know anything about it, and it'd be a little hard for me to get into it, personally. And then we have Atlas's Metaphor Refantasio. I don't know a lot about this game. I know that it functions and plays very much like Persona. I played Persona 5, loved it. I have Persona 3 downloaded. I haven't started it though. But I know that Atlas games are quite top tier, so it's not a surprise to me that this is on the list. Anyway, we move on to Best Game Direction, and it's so funny that it's just the same list, pretty much. I wouldn't know what to vote for with this. I would think this would go to Astrobot, Black Myth Wukong, or Elden Ring Shadow of the Air Tree, because, this is FromSoft. The culture of Black Myth Wukong is very rich, and it's very, very Chinese. I don't know if that's the way to describe it, but it's very, again, culturally rich. So that's very cool. And Astrobot, it sounded like it really came together, and people were very happy and satisfied with it, the people that did play it. After that, we've got Best Narrative, and this is a little different from the first two in terms of our selection. We've got Final Fantasy and we've got Metaphor, but the new ones are Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, which I've never played the Yakuza games. I have very much thought of trying it, because some of them are on Game Pass. But I don't know. I never got into this franchise or this IP either. But I heard great things when this did come out months ago. After that, we have Hellblade 2, which I heard was not very good. From the gaming reviewers that I watch, I heard that this was a disappointing sequel to the first game. So I couldn't really imagine this winning. And then we have Silent Hill 2. I've heard amazing things about Silent Hill 2. When the trailers were, released, when it got released on State of Play, people were getting very upset at this one as well. Mainly because they just, they remade it, and it sparked the whole like debate on, should we be remaking old classics? But when it did come out, I did see a lot of cool things, and when people didn't see Silent Hill on the Game of the Year list, they were upset. So I think this did pretty well, though I haven't played it myself. Then we have Best Art Direction, which, wait, what was the one before? Game Direction. Oh, my bad. I would say everything that I said about Black Myth Wukong, about it being culturally rich, I would say that might go to this. But we have a new one, Neva, which I actually don't know anything about this. It's published by Devolver, which they publish a lot of things. But this is very much indie compared to the rest of this stuff, so it's cool to see that on Best Art Direction. That's a pretty, like, major category, you know? Next up, we have Best Score and Music. Of course, I still can't say anything about this because I've never played these games and I've never, you know, immersed myself in their worlds. So I couldn't even put a guess on what gets what. I know that Stellar Blade is the, you know, it's the first time we're seeing that. But yeah, moving on. Best Audio Design. Now, Black Ops 6, I have played, and I am actively playing. With, you know, with COD, you always have, you know, good sound effects. You can't really go wrong with audio design in a Call of Duty, so I wouldn't be surprised if it got it, but I mean, it's kind of like a given, but that's not to take away from, you know, the refinement and the quality that you get in terms of the gunplay in Call of Duty games, by any means. I know that Hellblade 2, you've got the mechanic of, like, schizophrenia, and you've got, like, an inner voice, and in the reviews, the many reviews that I saw of Hellblade 2, they kind of didn't like it this time, whereas in the first game, it was good. But, of course, myself can't comment on it at all, because I don't know anything about it. Then we've got the Best Performance category. We've got Brianna White, Hannah Tell, Humberly Gonzalez, Luke Roberts, and Melina Jurgens. Now, I have not seen or played any of the games that these guys are a part of. I am very happy to see that Hannah Tell, as I think she plays Max, is on this list for Double Exposure. I would love to see that game. I want to take a look at that because, you know, Max Caulfield comes back for pretty much a sequel, even though she didn't really need one, but it's cool that they did it, and it's cool to see that Hannah Tell did such a good job that she got to Best Performance nomination. But otherwise, I have not heard any of the other people's performances, so I couldn't really, again, I can't really vote for this at all. Innovation and accessibility, recognizing software and or hardware that is pushing the medium forward by adding features, technology, and content to help games be played and enjoyed by an even wider audience. So this category, I wouldn't really know what they have done in the innovation and accessibility medium. So I can really only comment on the fact that we have Diablo 4, Dragon Age, Prince of Persia, and Star Wars Outlaws as, like, you know, some games that are on a nominee list. So that's cool. But again, I wouldn't really know. I haven't played the Veilguard yet, but I've heard it's got a really good rating. But I've also heard that it's a little bit of a letdown, so I don't really know. I don't know if I'll ever play it. Maybe if it goes on sale one day, but it seems like it's doing pretty well, so I can't really say anything about it. Speaking of games for impact, Haven't played any of these. We've got Closer the Distance, Indica, Neva, which was on a previous list, I think for art direction or game direction. I think it was game direction. Life is Strange, Double Exposure, Hellblade 2, and Tales of Kenzera Zhao. I obviously am rooting for Life is Strange because I kind of grew up on Life is Strange, the first one. So seeing Max Caulfield there is very cool on, a game, the Game Awards list. But again, I can't really accurately vote for anything like this because I just haven't played them, and it wouldn't be fair, honestly. Now, what's crazy is in the best ongoing category, we finally see Helldivers 2, and that is a huge can of worms that honestly I'd rather open when we get to the action category. But for best ongoing, awarded to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. Now, I know that Destiny 2 got an expansion, Diablo 4 got a DLC, don't know about this Final Fantasy. Fortnite is Fortnite, it's always gonna have a nomination on here, and honestly, props to them. And then we have Helldivers 2, so if anything, I feel like either Fortnite or Helldivers 2 would win this. I played Diablo 4 when it came out. I've adopted a very anti-Blizzard policy over the last couple years, especially what they did with Overwatch, and their workplace controversies involving harassing women and so on and so forth. But besides that, I know that Destiny doesn't really have a great rep. Can't remember why at the moment, but Destiny players are very loyal to the game, and honestly, they're the ones driving Destiny to be on the best ongoing category, which is really, really, really cool to see. And, again, Fortnite, they're always doing new seasons, and they're always driving the same people back, and even more people back. I was in like 2018, 2019, I was a avid Fortnite hater. I was one of those people who was not a fan of it at all. But as time went on, it's kind of just you gotta recognize how they've maintained this game and the amount of IPs that they've been able to drag in, and to over time captivate people. And then we've got Helldivers 2, which, again, there was some controversy with Helldivers 2, but we'll talk about that. Actually, no, let's talk about it now. We're going to talk about it right now. I remember hearing that Helldivers 2, it got a lot of backlash when Sony made it so that you can only play this if you log into a PSN account. So people who didn't have access to the PlayStation Network, could no longer play this, and people just saw it as like an unnecessary move. I don't know if there's anything more to that. I can't exactly remember. It's been a while. But also, very early on, when there were still hundreds of thousands of people playing, they kept releasing like balance patches where, if you had a favorite weapon or like a favorite drop, it would get nerfed or balanced or changed constantly. So it would have a very constantly evolving meta. Also, for me personally, once I bought all of, like, unlocked everything, the game just kind of felt, I don't know, it's very fun, don't get me wrong, as an action game, but once I unlocked everything, there's kind of nothing else to work for other than, you know, for Super Earth, the great community. And it really had such an amazing community, and honestly, it still does. Um, but yeah, it was definitely harmed a lot by that series of things that happened to it. So, very unfortunate what happened there. After that, we've got Best Community Support, recognizing a game for outstanding community support, transparency, and responsiveness, inclusive of social media activity and game updates and patches. Alright, this is a cool one as well. We've got Baldur's Gate 3, which is interesting, because one of the things that I remember in terms of like updates for Baldur's Gate 3 is they released mods, like a mod workplace. So yeah, that's the only thing that I can think of. But I'm very happy that Baldur's Gate 3 is on the list after winning the Game of the Year award last year. I was so happy about that. I was very much rooting for that to win, and it was a knockout for so many categories. It's very, very, very impressive, and I'm very proud of Larian Studios for getting there. After that, we've got Final Fantasy. Again, I don't know anything about that. The only thing I know about Final Fantasy is one of the voice actors. His name is Ben Starr, and he posts funny videos on Twitter with his voice acting. That's all I know about Final Fantasy. Fortnite. Honestly, I would not say that Fortnite has the best community support. Mainly because every new season where they add like new items and cool things, it will always get nerfed. Like days after it launches, or maybe even like a week after it launches. And everybody says it's because of the pro players who are the people who stream Fortnite. So, Fortnite or Epic Games, they kind of have to, bow down to pro players because they're the ones who are also driving, Fortnite's success and what's the word? Relatability. I don't think that's the word. Relevancy. That's the word. But yeah, I wouldn't say Fortnite gets it. Mainly because of that. There is a little bit of a divide between the pro players who stream the game and like your average person who enjoy, the new things that they add to the game. Sorry, I'm getting like hiccups. It's very awful. After that though, we do have Helldivers 2, which I do think could win the best community support, because when Helldivers 2 was at its peak, when like 500,000 people were playing at once, the drive to win against like the Tyranids, I think they're called, the aliens of Helldivers, that was like genuinely such like a unifying force and a really, really good thing for gaming. Like it was all over social media that we needed to get soldiers out for I forget what the planet's called, but you know, the great active war on that planet is very, very unifying, very cool. Nothing that I've ever seen in gaming. So honestly, for that moment in time, I think Helldivers 2 should take it. And then we have No Man's Sky. They released the World Update Part 1. So they're still really, really, really working to, you know, update No Man's Sky and make it an even better game. And I am so happy about that because I make videos on No Man's Sky and people watch videos on No Man's Sky. And yeah, it's also just like a very unifying thing that there are people who will always come back to No Man's Sky just to, you know, do the same old thing that they always have done. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that as long as you're enjoying it. You know, same thing with all video games. So, yeah, honestly, I would give it to Helldivers 2 for that, honestly, monumental, you know, place, moment in history. Because Helldivers 2, insane success story. And it was the biggest thing at that time. It's very cool. After that, we've got Best Independent Game. And this is finally where we see Animal Well. And honestly, a lot of predictions were saying that Animal Well was going to be on Game of the Year, but it isn't. So honestly, because of that, I think people are going to vote Animal Well for this. Otherwise, we have Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. We've got Balatro again. Neva again. And then we've got UFO 50. I haven't heard about this game. Or Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. But if I were to guess, I think Animal Well is going to get that. Because this is also a game that... I forgot the guy's name. I never really watched this YouTuber, but he made his own, like, gaming studio. And I think, like, this is also a really cool success story, because a lot of people doubted him, and he actually ended up making a game that people really, really, really like, and that innovates. So, very cool to see that there. We also have Best Debut Indie Game. Honestly, that one might go to Animal Well, but I'm not too sure. Otherwise, we have Balatro again, Manor Lords, Pacific Drive, and the Plucky Squire, none of which I have played, so I can't really say much about it. After that, we've got the Best Mobile Game. There's AFK Journey, Balatro, Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket, Wuthering Waves. Then we've got Zenless Zone Zero. I didn't realize that this was Zenless Zone Zero. I think that ZZZ is gonna win, mainly because I've seen the most from this game. I don't know how it plays at all, but I've seen a lot of stuff from this, and I'm sure that you guys have as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if this won. It's kind of like the new Genshin Impact. Feel free to flame me if I'm wrong on that front. Also, I swear to God, there was Best Action Game, right? Have we not hit it yet? Okay, no we haven't. That's crazy. After that, we've got Best VR and AR Game. Arizona Sunshine Remake. I didn't realize I got a remake. That's pretty cool. I played the original on the first Oculus Quest, which I still have. There's Asgard's Wrath 2. There's another Batman VR game, which I don't know if it was this one or the one before, but Not too sure though. We've got Hellsinger, and we've got a Metro VR game. That's pretty cool. I didn't know that that existed. I'm not really in the VR world or realm of things. Now, this one is something that I'm very excited to see. Because I know of 4 of these games. I never played Stellar Blade, but I know that Space Marine 2 was big especially for Warhammer fans when it arrived. I haven't heard much about Space Marine 2 since then, but for Warhammer fans, I'm sure it's very, very, very good. I don't think that this would win, though. If anything, I would either give it to Black Myth Wukong or Helldivers 2, with the runner-up being Black Ops 6 and Warhammer. Mainly because I just don't know anything about Stellar Blade, except for the Goon posting that I've seen from it, which was a while ago when this game was like coming out, I think, or when it came out. But I feel like, yeah, it's either Black Myth Wukong or Helldivers 2. I can't really say anything about that because I haven't played Black Myth Wukong. Again, I really do want to, but I haven't played it. And Helldivers 2 was just such a big game in the beginning of the year, but hopefully that hasn't swayed the minds of, or the controversy. Hopefully it hasn't wavered over time. But, yeah, really big list of nominations here. Very cool. After that, we have Best Action Adventure Game. We've got Astrobot, Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown, Silent Hill 2, Star Wars Outlaws, which is cool to see, The Legend of Zelda, Echoes of Wisdom. If I were to guess which one would win from here, I heard Prince of Persia was really good. I know that people like Silent Hill 2 a lot, and Astrobot, and Star Wars Outlaws. It didn't exactly flop, but it was, it was under expectations for Ubisoft, the amount of sales that it did, so, or sorry, underperformed is the word that I was trying to think of. That's what they said, and that's why they pushed back Assassin's Creed Shadows to the next year, because they want to avoid it underperforming. I've also heard that it's got some very egregious microtransactions. I've heard about that, but anyway, I can't really say what would win here. I don't know how Prince of Persia plays, but honestly, if Silent Hill is on here, it might win. Otherwise, Astrobot. But that's all I know. Then we have Best RPG for the best game designed with rich player character customization and progression, including massively multiplayer experiences. Now, we've got Dragon's Dogma 2, which I've heard that the character customization is like top tier. We've got Shadow the Air Tree. Honestly, that's wild. I can't believe Shadow the Air Tree is an in-action game. That's crazy to me. Then we got Final Fantasy, which I know that this is very rich in RPG mechanics. Then we've got Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, and Metaphor Refantasio. Honestly, if I were to guess what would win Best RPG, I think it would be Metaphor. Mainly because it's an Atlas game, and they tend to be very, very good. They tend to really nail their RPG mechanics. And if it plays anything like Persona, yeah, I think we may have a winner there. But Again, can't say anything more than that, other than it's just a guess. Then we've got best fighting game, and I feel like we have like a very clear winner, maybe besides one thing. I think Sparking Zero is going to win, just because I've seen many, many, many things on this game, and it's very much a win for Dragon Ball fans. And Dragon Ball is one of the most popular animes and franchises out there, so I think this may win. Otherwise, it might be Tekken, though Tekken was longer ago, because Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is a lot more recent. Tekken 8, honestly, I thought Tekken 8 was last year, but I think it was actually just the beginning of this year. I thought Tekken 8 was more like grouped up with the newest Street Fighter, but no, it's part of this year. It's very funny that Multiverses is on here, because it's not fucking winning. I'm gonna be honest. I was a big fan of the beta, but when it got its full release, everybody hated it. It was awful, and they absolutely ruined Jake the dog, his character, because every time you would play Jake, the game would crash, like, without fail, and that's not even a joke. That's not even remotely a joke. Also, they nerfed the shit out of him, and that was my main. So, yeah, I don't think Multiverses is going to win at all, and I don't know anything about these two. Marvel vs. Capcom is, big franchise, but I didn't see much about this game, and I don't know anything about Grand Blue Fantasy versus Rising. I think it's gonna be Sparking Zero. I'd be surprised if it didn't win, honestly. We've got Best Family Game, and I think Astrobot is the clear winner here, mainly because this is the nominee for Game of the Year, I can't see any of these other games beating that out, especially considering we have two Mario games in here. I don't know how these play, but I'm sure that our Nintendo fans are going to be a little split between these. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe Princess Peach is bad and everybody would just go for this. I have no idea. But I never saw anything about these four on like social media within the last year, but I've seen plenty of Astrobot, especially when that came out, so I think that's gonna win. After that, we've got Best Simulator and Strategy, best game focused on real-time or turn-based simulation or strategy gameplay, irrespective of platform. We've got Age of Mythology Retold, Frostpunk 2, Kunitsu Gami, Path of the Goddess, Manor Lords, and Unicorn Overlord. Well, I've never played any of these, but I played the first Frostpunk, so I'm not going to vote on this, but I would be rooting for Frostpunk 2. Hopefully one day I'll get around to playing it. So yeah, Best Sports and Racing. I do not mess around with sports games. That's just kinda, yeah. I don't know which one's gonna win, because I have no idea. Maybe it'll be WWE. But again, I don't know. I do not know. Oh, and then after that we've got Best Multiplayer Game. This is pretty big. I would say that it's either between Helldivers 2 or Black Ops 6, with the runner-up being Space Marine, because we've got Tekken, and I'm not trying to rag on Tekken at all. it's just been a while since I saw anything about Tekken. And, that's more like a one-on-one kind of experience, whereas the other games are much more than that, player count-wise. And if Super Mario Party Jamboree was, like, top tier, or, like, the best Super Mario Party ever, I think I would have seen something about it on Twitter or social media or something, but I never knew that this game existed, or it came out this year. So I think the best multiplayer game is gonna go to Black Ops 6, Helldivers 2, or Warhammer Space Marine 2. If I were to guess, there are a lot of people playing Black Ops 6. It's either that or Helldivers 2. But I don't know. I don't know, man. After that, we have Best Adaptation. And I don't think this one's even close. As much as Fallout was a great success, it's Arcane. It has to be Arcane. I have not watched it, but the stuff that I have seen from it looks freaking phenomenal. And it's definitely going to be the next show that I watch. Because, again, it really looks good. And the animation is so cool from the clips that I've seen. And I've heard good things about the story as well, don't get me wrong. But again, I think the runner-up for this would probably be Fallout. The Fallout TV show did amazing things for the franchise and Bethesda and all that stuff. And then the runner-up for that is going to be Knuckles. I heard that the Yakuza, I think this is a show, was really bad. And nothing like the games at all. It like took a serious tone, whereas the Yakuza games are a little more goofy. Still a little serious, but a little more goofy. And then we've got this. I've never seen this, but it's on Netflix. Looks like an animated either show or movie or short of Lara Croft. So I don't know anything about that. But yeah, I think it has to go to Arcane, like 100%, and then Fallout being the runner-up, and then Knuckles being the runner-up after that. Now, we've got most anticipated game, and I don't think this one's even close either. It has to be GTA 6. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This is a game that I would not be surprised if the base price was $100. Everybody is going to be playing GTA 6 when it comes out, without fail. And it's going to be taking place in Miami. That's going to be huge. I am also a Floridian, so my hometown and the current area that I live in are probably going to be depicted in GTA 6. This is my top pick, regardless of any of the other games in here. It has to be GTA 6. There's no way it's nothing else, and it's coming out next year, which is also crazy, now that I'm thinking about it. But we also have Death Stranding 2, Ghost of Yotei, which is the Ghost of Tsushima sequel, Metroid Prime, and Monster Hunter Wilds. But yeah, it has to be GTA 6. Those other games, excuse me, are very exciting, but it's GTA 6. Now, Content Creator of the Year. It has to be Queso. Are you kidding me? I'm sorry, but it has to be. There's no way it's not Queso. I would honestly say that call me like whatever you want or hate me if you want, but I think this year Kai Cenat has actually done a lot of good things for the gaming industry with his like Elden Ring playthrough and everything that he did after that, because it really got a lot of people who really only play like Call of Duty or 2K or don't really mess with gaming like that. He kind of like really put a very large audience onto like art, if that makes sense. Not calling Call of Duty or 2K not art, but you know what I mean. Otherwise, out of all these people, I only know Queso, and Queso is a very, very down-to-earth guy, and he's very real, and he's such a cool guy. Major, major respect to him, and I think he will get this. I don't know these other guys, I'm gonna be honest, and that's nothing against them. I just don't know them. But I know Queso, and because of that, I would vote Queso. After that, we've got best esports. I don't mess with esports like that, but honestly, it's probably. Excuse me. Got another hiccup. I would probably guess that it's either CS2 or Valorant. I don't know what won last year. I have no idea, but it's probably one of those two, I would guess. If not League of Legends after Arcane, but I don't know. Then we've got Best Esports Athlete. The only person out of these people that I have ever heard of, because I am not in esports at all. I'm not a fan of esports at all. The only person that I have heard of is Faker. And yeah, that's it. That's all I know of when it comes to esports. Is I just know Faker. So yeah, esports team. The only one I've ever heard of is maybe Navi, but Team Liquid. I remember hearing about Team Liquid, but I don't know any other esports teams. Again, I'm not in that realm or scene. But yeah, there you have it. That was the entire list. Was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 3, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29 categories. I am very excited to see the announcement for the Game of the Year. If I were to guess what would win Game of the Year, honestly, for the sake of it being a DLC, I really hope it's not Shadow the Erdtree. I have major respect for From Software and Elden Ring. It is a amazing work of art, but I don't think that it should get Game of the Year because it is a DLC. No matter how good it is, I think it should get its own category, even though Best DLC might be a little funky or weird or slippery of a slope. But I think it's going to be Black Myth Wukong. That's my guess. Either Black Myth Wukong or Metaphor. Because Metaphor is the only other Atlas game, except for, what is the one where he cheats on his girlfriend? Catherine. This is the only thing that I know of Atlas, except for Persona and Catherine. I think they've done one other thing, but this might be a sequel to that spin-off series, or this might be the original, because I know that Persona is actually an offshoot of a different thing that plays the exact same, so this might be the original, just a sequel to it. I have no idea. Anyway, I think it's either going to be Black Myth Wukong or Metaphor. So, there, we did it. we got through the whole thing. I got to talk about everything that, you know, I had thoughts on. Oh, there's a lot of games that I, never ever ever touched on um, in the nominees, the nominations, and yeah, it's cool to see things that I've never, played, because I'm sure that would also, give them good recognition and such. If you agreed or disagreed with any of my thoughts or, personal votes, feel free to leave a comment. Do not be mean, for the love of God. But I would love to hear what you guys think about Game of the Year and any of the other categories. I want to hear what you guys think of any and all of the categories, who you think is going to win, who you think probably shouldn't win, and your personal top picks, because a lot of these, especially Game of the Year, is, if I don't know, it's very personal, I would say, Game of the Year. These are all very different games. We have an action game, a different action game expansion. We've got, the father of all RPGs, Atlas Games, Final Fantasy, which is, always been ingrained in gaming, a roguelike in classic card games, and a family game. That's basically like a fan letter to PlayStation. So yeah, it's very, very wildly different kinds of games. So yeah, I think I'm gonna end it there. I keep hiccuping. So I'm gonna wrap it up there. Unfortunately, we did not hit an hour long, but I mean, that's fine. That's alright. Honestly, it's better that we didn't hit an hour. Shorter for this type of video, the better. But I'm glad I was able to yap for as long that I did. So, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you found it relaxing. Hopefully you agreed with me on some things, and hopefully you guys can provide any information that I was missing with games that I have never played or seen. With that being said, I hope you have a good rest of your night. I can't wait to see the Game Awards ceremony.